This murder occurred again on March 14, 2022. Mr. Nichols is seen on surveillance video at that BP gas station as I just referenced earlier. He was at the gas station with YSL co-conspirator Shannon Stillwell. Mr. Stillwell was driving an Audi vehicle. Mr. Nichols came to that gas station in a Ford Fusion vehicle. You see both of them on camera together. While they are at that gas station, Shamel Drinks approaches that gas station as well. I think unbeknownst to Mr. Drinks, Mr. Stillwell was still in his vehicle, which is the Audi. At some point in time, Mr. Nichols got to his vehicle, the Ford Fusion. Once Mr. Drinks finished his business or finished handling business at that gas station,